a class that is has a lot more intellectual information than I usually share, because we're going to be looking at the diaphragm, the ribs, and the pleura, the lungs, and how room is made in the body for this breathing process, and what are the mechanisms for it. So I just want to say that it's important to understand that this information becomes a vocabulary. And what I mean by vocabulary, it becomes a somatic vocabulary where you begin to have your mind be able to feel things because you've been given a handle on the mechanism. You know, what is the mechanical process that is going on here? Because there is an engineering, a symphony of the most minute and subtle engineering that's happening every time we breathe. I just realized I didn't put my record. I want you to pin me so that I am in the big picture so you can see me. And I'm going to take my jacket off so you can see my body. So the breath, once again, is the part of the autonomic nervous system, just as all our digestion is, just as our neural inputs are, just as our heart is. It is part of the beautiful exchanges of energy. But the thing about our breath that is quite extraordinary is that we do have a capacity to consciously interface with our breath and organize ourselves on our breath. And this gives us the power to actually transform our consciousness, because our consciousness and our breath are one and the same thing. And there is actually an understanding that certain research institutes have developed, in which they've tracked different diseases, and they've understood that every single disease process has a particular breathing pattern, and it shows up in the certain imbalances. But simultaneously, we can interface with our own breathing and actually help ourselves by understanding where we are withholding, where we are empty, where we're tightening, to reconfigure that breathing process, which is an amazing thing, so that our breath becomes a very accessible way of healing ourselves. Now, the thing about breathing is that it's so multidimensional and so beautifully complex and so infinite that you can't just learn one breathing way to breathe, or breathe just to accumulate oxygen in your system and think that because you have a lot of oxygen, you're going to be okay. It's really a language. And so I want us to get a little bit more of the language. To begin with is an understanding that in our evolutionary process, we come from plants. Plants were here on this planet before we were here. And they had to provide the environment by taking the light of the sun and transforming that by taking in the carbon dioxide that had been created on the planet, to begin to take that sunlight and that carbon dioxide and begin to transform it into glucose and oxygen, and which became, glucose, oxygen, which could burn and become ATP, become our energy system. And, it's a very profound spiritual understanding to realize that here we have plants taking in the light of the sun. The plants transform the light of the sun, create the basis of the food chain on our planet. We are able to eat because of plants. They feed everything. They feed the animals, they feed the insects, the birds, they feed us. And we, in turn, are able to eat that sugar, that carbohydrate, and we are able to take in the oxygen that they have let out, and that's our respiratory process. And we then have the energy in our system to be alive. But not only that, there is the evolutionary potential that the process of our transformation of energy will create the light of consciousness, which then is able to reflect back to the sun. You know, here we have the sun creating the earth, and we are the reflection of the light of the sun in conscious form. So that, I believe, is part of the evolutionary circuitry of who we are becoming. And that's quite, I was stunned when I understood this. I remember being in a botany class and getting this as pure science, but I didn't get the poetry of it. And when I got the poetry of it, I was quite, I was stunned. So I'm going to begin by first saying, in our breathing process, I would like everybody to know that you have to take care of yourself, because I'm going to be doing things that maybe are too long for you to sustain a breath and you run out of air. Do not try to keep up with me. I want you to be in tune with yourself, because the most important medicine is actually that you are able to be in an intimate relationship with your own breathing. And you always want to feel that you're not struggling. There is a level of stress that is healthy, you know, resistance that actually activates your system. But that's not the same thing as feeling like you're struggling and can't keep up. And so anytime that's coming on, take a little moment, catch up with yourself and find your way, because the process of ease, even when we're doing stressful things, is essential to the quality of the relationship that we want to create with our breathing process. Okay, and I want to say that there's another thing I want to cover right here, because I understand that sometimes people think that they have to breathe in and take a lot in. And a large part of this practice is about actually breathing from the back, breathing from the sides, and letting the air seep in very, very, very slowly and fill. So you are beginning to feel all the spaces have the energy, have the consciousness of the breath, but you can't do it by grabbing. It's a very intimate relationship in which you breathe and it opens, you breathe, it opens, you breathe, it opens, you breathe, it opens, you breathe, it opens. So there's a love affair. It's very tantric. So we're practicing our breathing like this. Okay, to begin with, I want to start once again with the 4-part breathing, because this is essential to have a basic structure. This is one of the anchors of the technique that I'm teaching you. And the 4-part breathing actually has the inhale and the exhale and the space between the inhale and the space between the inhale and the exhale. So I call it the hover, because the energy is hovering. What it also is a chance to take in what is our internal respiration. We have external respiration, and we also have the cellular process of respiration that's going on all over our body as a result of the oxygen exchange that we're having with the outside world. So this 4-part breathing, we divide our body into 4 parts. This is frontal, and it goes all the way across like this, and this is the coronal. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We're exhaling right here in the center, and at 1, we start to inhale. At 2, we're hovering, we're just watching the exchange of energy. At 3, we are exhaling. And at 4, we're hovering in the exhale, watching the internal exhalation. So do this with me. 1, inhale. 2, watch internal respiration, hover. 3, exhale. 4, internal exhalation, hover. Let's do this one more time. Do it on your own. I'll just say the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's all we're going to do. I want you to get this vocabulary so that when I talk about hover, you'll understand. So I'm going to be talking a little bit, and what I'd like you to do is to allow yourself to rock back and forth so that you're going into a slight trance, a slight meditation. And so there's the center, and then you go inhale, hover, inhale full to the middle, and then exhale from the middle forward, and then hover back. And so you're just letting yourself breathe very, very simply. You don't have to move very much. You just have to go and rock. And what I want you to be doing is letting the words that I'm saying and the ideas, I want you to focus on your own body and pay attention and begin to use your mind to travel inside your body as I'm talking. So, our breath. The organ of our breath is our diaphragm. Our diaphragm is a muscle that's a dome shaped muscle that goes underneath our stomach, over our stomach and our digestive organs, and is actually separating our heart and our lungs. It's attached to our ribs, and it's attached to the sternum, and it goes all the way up to the midline where the nipples are. It is also attached to the floating ribs, 2 floating ribs that are down here. If you take your hand and feel the rib cage, you're going to feel all of this bone and cartilage. All the ribs are attached to cartilage, and they go to the sternum in the center. The sternum is the breastbone, and the ribs connect into the sternum, and they also go around and they connect into the spinal column. So if we're breathing, we begin to feel that there's this roundness to our body. We have a back and a front, and it goes all the way around. The collarbone is attached to the sternum and is not attached to the ribs, but attaches to the scapula, the shoulder blade, and the arms, so that there's complete ease with the arms, and it's not attached to the breathing process. Okay, so it's very counterintuitive what happens, because most of the time when we think that we're inhaling, we think we're lifting up. What's actually going on is exactly the opposite. When we are inhaling, our diaphragm is actually contracting down. And that contraction down actually opens the ribs, because this diaphragm is attached to the whole lower part of the ribs. So when it actually contracts, it's spreading. It's spreading across the body, and it's going down. And so it creates this shape in the rib cage that is more of an opening throughout all the ribs. When the exhale happens, the exhale is a relaxation. So what happens in the exhale is the exhale just lifts up and it's a dome. So I want you to do this with me with your hands. So on the exhale, just let it come up. Inhale. Exhale. Dome comes up. Inhale. The contraction and pushing down. Exhale. And inhale. So this is so beautiful because the engineering in this is magnificent. The diaphragm never touches the breathing process directly. We have these 12 ribs that are protecting our lungs. The part of our breathing that is breathing is the parenchyma. The parenchyma is this very, very blood-infused, very soft tissue. It has no bones, it has no muscles, it just is filled with blood. And what this tissue does is it moves, it holds the blood from the exchange of oxygen from our blood system. And what is going on is our bronchial tube, which is through our nose, through our mouth, comes down our throat and goes in through into our lungs, down into the sternum, right at the center of our sternum here. And it begins to bifurcate. Bifurcation is a division of something from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 4, 4 to 16. So we have this infusion of this pathway of the oxygen we take in and of the carbon dioxide that we let out that goes deep, deep, deep into the lung tissue. So you have all of this area in the back being available to have this exchange of gases that goes on. The exchange of gases is passive. It's the nature of gas to find homeostasis and to balance itself. So if there's more oxygen on the outside and less oxygen on the inside, and more carbon dioxide on the inside and less on the outside, what's going to happen is the carbon dioxide is going to go through a permeable membrane, and that exchange is going to happen so that the oxygen goes into the blood and the carbon dioxide gets breathed out. This bronchial infusion ends in a structure called an alveoli. Alveolar are these grape-like clusters that only has one cell membrane of surface to it. And it is able to take in the end point of the gases that are being conducted. And they are in contact with the parenchyma, and they go through all of the exchanges of gas here. So at the alveoli, which are deep, deep, deep in the tissue, we have this infusion of oxygen into the blood, and the iron, the hemoglobin taking up the oxygen in the iron. And you have this exhalation, this letting go of the carbon dioxide, which then gets let out into the air. This happens because of a vacuum. And when I say vacuum, you know how it is when it all of a sudden, you go up into the mountains and you have a bottle of something, and the pressure changes, and all of a sudden there's like, something is sucked in, the vacuum is changed. So we have this change of vacuum happening because of the diaphragm changing shape. So what covers this very, very delicate tissue is what is called a pleura. The pleura is a skin, and the pleura has two layers to it. There's one layer that's attached to the tissue of the lung. It's not attached, it covers it and protects it. And then there's another layer on the outside of that, which is attached to the rib cage on the inside. So that in between these two layers of pleura is a viscous, slippery substance. There's no air, so it's there's no air in there, and so when the lungs actually open, the pleura pulls apart, and it pulls the space that the pleura is, the parenchyma is in, and all of a sudden the oxygen is drawn in. When we relax the diaphragm, it simply comes up and stops its muscular effort, and the air simply falls out because the vacuum has been let go. So basically the inhale is creating a vacuum. So I want us to feel this, okay? So what we're going to do, and the other part of this is that we have this abdominal area and this whole lower body and back that is necessary to understand that its capacity to make room for the dropping of the diaphragm and inhalation is what allows the air to really enter, so that if we can just breathe up here, and we get very little oxygen. But if we can let ourselves breathe in and let the diaphragm enter into the abdominal area, we can actually get a lot more oxygen. Just let's feel that for a moment. Just feel that when we inhale, our abdominal area is actually making room. And as we exhale, the abdominal area begins to come together. Inhale. And exhale. Now, there are many ways that this process can happen, but we're gonna do some exercise right now, and we're gonna hold our arms out like this. And what I want us to do is to really take time to feel this infusion. So we're going to inhale into our back, into our sides, and let the air seep in. We're going to fill to a point where it feels, that's it. And then we're going to let the hover happen, and we're going to watch the internal inspiration happen. We're going to let it and scan and actually clear ourselves of any place that is tense. And then we're going to allow the exhale to happen with a softness and gentleness, so that the exhale just happens because we let go of the effort of inhalation. So the diaphragm is just going to lift up and the air is going to come out. So let's try that together. So we're going to first empty, exhale, and slowly inhale through the sides, through the back. And I want you to just hover now, scan the whole lung area, the neck, the throat, the abdominal area, and then let the effort go and feel the air easily leave. So as we do this next time, I want you to begin to feel that there is this process of bifurcation that's going deep into the tissue of the lungs. So you're going to close your eyes and feel deep into this tissue, how it is receiving this activation of gases and this exchange of gases that's happening deep in the tissue. So I want you to feel your back and your sides all the way down to here. This is how far the ribs go, right down to our waist. It's all up through here. Okay, here we go. Exhale, empty. Put the elbows out, lift our belly, and inhale. Hover, scan, let go of tension, and allow the exhale to happen, feeling the diaphragm lift up. And inhaling. Let yourself feel deep into the tissue. Scan, hover, relax, let the exhale happen. Inhale, go deep into your tissue. Watch the bifurcation. Let it seep in deep. See if you can feel everything and begin to move your ribs as you do this. Feel your ribs stretching. Stretch them some more. Feel the whole space. Fill the whole space. Hold it a moment. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Let the exhale happen. Watch the diaphragm rise up. Once again, inhaling. I want you to really begin to stretch your ribs. Fill, fill, fill into the back. Feel the spine. Feel the upper spine. Feel the upper lobes. Feel the front. Feel under the arms. Scan. Relax. So we're going to go into the abdominal area. Actually, I want to do a few exercises to get us into our rib cage before we do this more active breathing. So we're going to do it's at the level of the abdominal area. So we're going to inhale, fingers are wide, thumbs are out, and we're going to extend our arms so that our shoulders are down and our shoulders are held in our body, and we're going to be creating an extension through us and really pressing through the space as if you're stopping a wall that's coming at you, and you're engaging your core, you're sitting into your pelvis, and your feet are on the floor. So your whole central channel is engaged in this extension of your energy through your arms. So let's just finish the exhale. Press through the hands. At the end of the exhale, we're going to hold a tightness in our Hands, squeeze, squeeze all the muscles in our arms. And then we're going to allow the inhale to happen and letting go of the hands and allowing the inhale to infuse our body with potency. Filling, filling, filling. And exhaling, pushing the hands away, making the sound. Extending through the fingertips, through the wrists. Keep sitting into yourself, activating your abdominal muscles, activating your core, keeping your shoulders down. Fist squeeze and release as you begin to inhale, bringing your arms back. And exhale. Go through the wrists, through the hands. Elongate. Get the joints to have space. Feel your center. Fist squeeze at the end of the exhale. And release as you inhale. We're going to take this out to the side. Exhale. Push the wall away. Inhale, turn the palms up. Relax the arms. Pushing away. Sit into the chair. Feel your energy go down into the earth to create the up. Keep elongating from underneath your arms. From underneath your arms. Elongate, elongate, squeeze. And turn the palms up. And one more time. Elongate, elongate, elongate. Squeeze all the muscles in your arm and elongate your arms away. And relax. Allow the arms to begin to come back. And we're going to do this to the back. And what I am sure you're beginning to feel with these exercises is that you're becoming more aware of this breathing process from the little bit of explanation that we had. So I want you to be feeling, as we're doing this, a dimensionality to your breathing that you're exploring as we're doing this. So here we go. Inhale. Exhale, you're going to lift your arms and you're turning your shoulders in and keeping them down, and you're elongating the muscles away, and you're going through the top of your wrists, and you're creating a stretching in the skin and making the shh sound. Shh. Moving your arms away and up as you do that. Shh. Hold it there and extend even more. Inhale. Again, shh. Extend away. Feel yourself sit into yourself. Inhale. Keep extending, 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 extending. Squeeze some more and let the arm inhale down. And feel the inhale infuse your body. Feel the diaphragm drop. Feel the parenchyma Receive the oxygen. And as you exhale, feel the relaxation of the diaphragm. Okay, so we're going to do one more. Well, actually, I want to do this. So we're lifting our arm up, our shoulder is down, and I want us to feel what it's like to lift out of ourselves, ribs down, and feel yourself pull up into your under your rib cage. And so you're going to be letting yourself move from your stomach. So you're moving from your stomach here. Your stomach is moving you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now I want you to, from this, begin to let your ribs begin to curl, and you're opening up by opening up the sides of your ribs. Lift out of your ribs. Lift out of your ribs. And you're going to turn your palm over like this. Inhale and press through your wrist. And exhale, turn the palm back. Inhale, turn the palm up. Feel the sides of your ribs open. Really extend through your wrist, through your fingers. Exhale, turn the palm over. And inhale. And take the arm down. Inhale, exhale. So I want you to feel this whole flank. And I'm going to back away so you can see me better. I'm not getting the whole thing. Okay, so bring your arm up. And so from here, you're going to be moving yourself from your belly. This is what's moving you. You're going to be using all these abdominal muscles. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, and inhale. And hold your arm up, and from keeping your ribs down, bringing your self inside your rib cage, begin to let the ribs open, lifting up, opening up through the sides. Keep sitting into yourself so you create a root. And inhale, turning your palm up. And exhale, turning it over and extending. Inhale, feel the side open, the under the arm. Breathing into the ribs in your back. Exhale. Inhale. Turn it over and exhale. And relax. Taking a breath. Feel yourself breathe into your parenchyma. Feel the diaphragm moving, the ribs moving. So we're going to do one more exercise here. And we're going to, once again, move from our abdominal muscles. So we're moving our upper body by moving this here. Takes work. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So from here, we're going to go swimming. And what I want you to do is to feel your back. You're going to bring your elbows to the front of the body. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. So you're reaching with your elbows. Reach through. Take time and really reach through your elbows and feel yourself opening the ribs, opening the tissue of the lungs, really taking time to feel that you're breathing into your tissue, into your tissue. Have this come. Keep your body more centered. Don't move your body so much. Move your elbows and extend through your elbows. extend through your elbows. Really reach with those elbows back and front. And we're going to change directions, inhaling back and coming up the center, inhaling back and coming up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Okay, and we're going to bring our elbows together, put our hands on our shoulders, and we're going to feel ourselves breathe into the back of our spine. And we're going to just bend forward and exhale, inhale, come up. Keep your elbows touching if you can, so you feel your spine and your back. Okay, so that's a little bit of waking up. Let's take a breath together and integrate. You feel all that internal respiration activating throughout your whole body, which allows your whole, your consciousness to come in and actually heal and regenerate, and your immune system to have a chance to really function with resilience. Okay. So we're going to go into this area because we're going to now see what it feels like to do a more active exhalation. So here we go. We're going to do that beautiful slow motion inhalation that fills up the back and fills up the sides and fills up from the bottom up, letting the air go deep, deep, deep into the tissue of the lungs. And then we're going to let that reside in the internal respiration, and we're going to let ourselves scan through our body, looking for any place that is holding the tension, just letting it relax. And then we're going to exhale by activating the pelvic diaphragm. And so inside of our anus, outside of our anus, we have a sphincter. That's the outside sphincter. But inside of our anus, there's an internal sphincter, and that's the beginning of the center of the pelvic bowl. And we can begin to squeeze that and begin to push the energy and zip it up the center till we come right to the top of the diaphragm. So we're squeezing the air out. We're not being passive this time. We're being active in our exhalation. And I want us to begin to get a sense of these muscles being part of the breathing process. So here we go. Inhale, and we're going to watch the air come in. We're going to begin to stretch the spaces between the ribs. If you need to take little breaths, go ahead, keep doing it. Open up the back, open up the sides, hold it. And we're going to squeeze the internal sphincter of the anus and begin to squeeze the abdominal muscles. And we're going to begin to push the air out. Feeling our diaphragm lift. And we're going to allow the inhalation to come in very slowly by relaxing the abdomen. Watching the air come in. And begin to breathe in your own rhythm, just closing your eyes and rocking back and forth and feeling the profound transformation of your energy from that one breath. So we're going to do this again. Inhaling. Slowly taking the air in. Sides. Back. Under the arms. Front of the body. Stretching it. Stretching the ribs like you're yawning. Scanning. Feeling all the structures and beginning to contract the internal sphincter and pushing the air out. Holding it. Going inside and feeling that. And inhale slowly with control. Just letting yourself be easy, easy, easy. So we're going to do the same thing, but what we're going to do is actually become more aware of when we are exhaling and inhaling, just taking in the back, making room, keeping our abdominal area very, very passive. We're not going to be letting the belly come out and in. We're going to be going through the sides of the body and really allowing the spaces to open up through the back and through the sides, because what this does is that it really engages a much more quantum level of our own breath. All of a sudden, we are changing the structure, the relationship to center by opening up the back and bringing it round the front, so that the back becomes very wide and the front becomes very still. And so all of this circular comes in, and we're going to be breathing like that. So here we go.
Ruth?
Yes.
I have a quick question. I got a little confused on the last round. Is the additional contraction of the internal and external sphincter, is that on the continued inhale, or is that as you're beginning to exhale?
I'm sorry that I wasn't clear enough of that. Yes, it's the actual, that's the beginning of the exhalation. You're doing an active exhalation, and you're not contracting the outer sphincter, you're only contracting the inner sphincter, but you can't, it's all going to get mixed up, but all you're going right to that floor of that the pelvic area, and you're beginning to really squeeze the muscles to create an active exhalation instead of a passive exhalation.
Got it. No, it's clear. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so we're going to do this, but this time we're going to be working with the side with this quantum breathing. So here we go. Inhaling. And we're filling in the back, in the sides. We're really stretching our ribs, opening up the back, bringing the ribs round to the front. And we're beginning the internal contraction, but we're keeping it in the back. We're keeping the movement in the back as we exhale. There are deep attachments of the diaphragm in the back. Empty, empty, empty. Hold the emptiness. Hold that sense of the back going all the way up through to the neck, to the center of the brain, and down past to the tailbone, and releasing and letting the air come in. So it's quite magnificent. The diaphragm is a muscle, and this muscle actually goes all the way up the front of the spine to the front of the foramen at this level of our structure, right where the brain stem and the spinal cord make their exchange, so that you begin to have the throat, the top of the throat. It's actually right here. So this diaphragm goes all the way up there, and it also goes all the way down to the tip of the coccyx. So this diaphragmatic muscle is connecting this whole internal structure. So when we're doing this back breathing, I want you to begin to feel this whole movement through the spine that you are getting, because the diaphragm and the whole spinal structure is connected. Here we go. Inhale. Hold, hold, hold. Scan all the way from the tip of the coccyx to the top of your neck. Opening your back, bringing it around. Sphincter, exhaling from the back, moving all the muscles in the back to create the activation of the exhalation. And inhaling, relaxing. Integrating the energy. If you're ever having trouble meditating, just do one of these breaths and you're in. Okay, so we're going to do one more thing here, and that is to begin to feel the diaphragm has many connections, and the pelvic diaphragm is a resonance with the diaphragm of the thoracic. And then there's a vocal diaphragm. There are many more diaphragms, but we're just going to be concerned with the vocal diaphragm. So we want to release our jaw and our upper palate, let our jaw be loose, our tongue be loose, and we're going to make sound from the bottom of the diaphragm. We're going to have that be what is like the voice, that's what's talking. And we're going to allow the exhale to be easy, as we did in the first part, so that we're not going to be pushing the air out. We're just going to be allowing this air to flow through these three diaphragms and feel the movement of energy and begin to get the feedback of the creation of sound as to how we are moving energy through this central area. So we're going to inhale, go down deep into the pelvis, come up, fill the lungs, open the mouth. Taking air deep into the pelvic bowl, or see yourself getting there. What I always feel is that the energy drops, then it comes up, and then it drops, and then comes up, so that there's this constant kind of seesaw of energy going through me when I do this. So, excuse me, let's do that again. Inhale. Take an inhale. So I'd like us to work with the quality of a lullaby, that you're actually singing a lullaby to yourself as you make the sound. Inhale. You can change pitch. You want everything to feel relaxed, everything to feel easy. Inhale. And really feel that the sound production is being supported by your pelvic diaphragm. So I'd like you to sing a little lullaby to yourself from here. Sing with ease, sing with softness and gentleness. Let the vibrations fill your whole body. So I'm going to take the mute off for us to be able to hear each other. And so we're going to make some sound together, and I was thinking that we would sing a lullaby together for the planet, and putting our hands on our heart from this space, from this gentle, gentle space of the open conduit of our central channel, moving through our heart, and with the intention of gentleness. Let's make some sounds for the planet. A lullaby for planet Earth. You're singing to a baby that you're trying to get to relax. Put an L sound in front of it. So I would like you to continue with this practice of gentle sound through your center. I want to close the class at this point. I want to thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to stay on to answer some questions. I want you to know next week we're going to be doing a class and concentrating on the pelvic bowl, which is a whole other universe, and everything's connected. So, you know, everything is part of it, but it's good to look at a particular area. And I'd like you to continue just using your awareness to explore this process of breathing, this magnificent process of breathing. And also to let you know that I do private sessions, and I'm doing them online through Zoom. And any post that you want to put up on Facebook on Conscious Body Energetics is really welcome. And telling your friends that you like this is also very, very welcome, because we're in the process of growing this, putting up a website, and I'm wanting to share this knowledge with everyone. So thank you once again, and I'm going to unpin myself.